Hello and welcome back to my channel for my Doctor Who collection update, September 2021. There's an awful lot to cover this month, new and old releases alike. In fact, I think it's probably going to be my most jam-packed collection update to date. So without any further ado, let's just get straight into it with magazines and books. So first up, as ever, we have Doctor Who magazine, issue 569. With John Bishop on the cover as Dan Lewis. And I called this in my previous collection update. So yeah, very glad to see him on the cover, advertising an interview with Emily Cook for Out of the TARDIS, if I can just find it. There we go. An interview with him which sort of divulges not too much about the character of Dan, more so about John Bishop himself. For instance, I never knew he was a vegetarian. So it just kind of reveals little tidbits like that. Next month looks to be a really jam-packed Series 13 issue. It's a bumper issue, I think, $9.99. Inside Series 13, interview with Ray Holman, the costume designer. So it looks to be getting a lot of Series 13 stuff next month, possibly to herald the start of the series. I would place good money on, Series 13 starting some point after, the 14th of October when this goes on sale. It's a bit of a shame that apart from that interview, there's not much current era content in here. I mean, actually there is, to be fair, part 2 of Joy Wilkinson's prose story Black Powder, which started last issue. That's really great to see. And just, your usual stuff you'd expect from Doctor Who magazine, really. There's a lot of stuff again on missing episodes, a continuation of an article series started last month called Eyewitness, which basically constitutes people that were alive at the time that these missing episodes were on, giving eyewitness accounts of what they were like. That's really fascinating to read. So that's great. So all around, another pretty decent issue. A bit of a shame to not have more new series content, but that does look to be changing next month. So fingers crossed for that. I'm really looking forward to that issue and finding out more about Series 13 after all these months. Next, we have this fantastic book from BBC Children's Books that was released around the start of the month. It is Doctor Who Atlas, a book which I believe was meant to come out last year sometime. I think it was announced over a year ago, but got delayed because of COVID. But now it is finally here. It's pretty much what it says on the cover. I mean, some people have sort of disputed this term Atlas being used. It features some geographical elements. I mean, that's probably a bad example, really. There are other ones like, I don't know, the TARDIS, which take more liberties with the kind of geography of where things are. It's just all very much sprawled out across the page. That's the contents page there. I'm conscious of showing off too much because, I don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it. You really need to go and buy this book if you want to see what it's all about. But I will just show some of my favourite bits. I mean, illustration of the Fugitive Doctor and the 13th Doctor there alongside the rest. Lovely, lovely to see. Stuff on the companions of Doctor Who as well, a lot of character guides, and then just locations from the whole of Doctor Who's 60-year history. For instance, this one on Skaro that brings together, stuff from the very first Dalek story, and also stuff from Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, spanning the whole 60 years and bringing it all together, which is just lovely to see. Some of the spreads, for instance, this one on the Satan Pit and Impossible Planets are portraits, different rotation. Or that one on the Time of Angels as well. And it goes right up to date, as I say, with stuff like Desolation and Orphan 55 from the current era. Lovingly illustrated, lovingly written by Steve Cole. He's done all of the text for this book. And just all round, really, really great. It is only 77 pages long. That would be my only complaint, I think, that this book isn't longer, that we don't get to see more of it and more worlds and more illustrations and text and everything. But that doesn't detract really from the fact that this is just a fantastic book. As I say, it's BBC Children's Books, so it is technically aimed at kids, I guess you could say. But I think there's a lot here for adult fans to enjoy as well. So I would definitely recommend picking this one up. Next, it's time for some Big Finish, the second Ninth Doctor Adventures box set, or at least the second from Series 1, respond to all calls. Now, this was released back in August, and I did actually get the download copy when it came out, and I did listen to the stories in August as well, so this feels pretty outdated really. But of course, the physical copies take longer to arrive, and so I couldn't include this in last month's collection update. So, what did I think of the stories in this set? Well, overall, I definitely got on better with it than the first box set, Ravagers. I just think having 3 different writers and 3 distinct stories really just really helps, and it feels more in keeping with this era, and I think it serves Eccleston better than that first story, which was, a 3-parter essentially. Girl Deconstructed, the first story in the set, was definitely my favourite. Reading about it beforehand, in interviews and Doctor Who magazine and stuff, I thought, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this one, and I wasn't wrong. It felt very of the era. It was quite small scale, small stakes, and I just really liked that. I thought it worked really well, especially for Eccleston. And it also wastes no time getting you straight into the story. I thought the first few minutes in particular were really great. The way we were introduced into this world and into the story. And the premise as well is fantastic. So, yeah, really enjoyed that one. Then we had Fright Motif, the second story in the set, which I think was my least favourite, but probably needs a re-listen. And a similar sort of thing for Planet of the End, the third story really. I think there was a lot to enjoy in this one, a lot of great ideas and stuff going on, but I don't know, I think I just need to listen to it again to fully appreciate exactly what was going on, because, yeah, it's one of those stories that kind of just throws you in at the deep end really, I suppose, and is very different in style to the other 2 in this set. Different to anything we saw Eccleston do on TV. He gets to grow a beard, he gets to carry a dead rabbit up a hill or something. It's wild. So that was Respond to All Calls. As I say, a better box set than the first, in my opinion. But I think actually this series is going to get even better as it goes on. I think it's going from strength to strength. And definitely with this Cyberman story in the next box set, oh gosh, I think the best really is yet to come. Very much looking forward to that. Now on to toys and figures. Now first up is a piece of 11th Doctor era character options merchandise. It's something that I've had my eye on for quite a while. They don't come up on eBay all that often. And it's something that's grown on me over the years. When I saw it in shops as a child, I never really got the appeal. But more recently I kind of thought to myself, yeah, that's quite a nice piece. And it'll double up quite nicely as a mood light for these dark autumn and winter nights. It is, of course, the Time Lord Psychic Container from the Doctor's wife, or Hypercube, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the version I got was the Gallifrey version. There is also a variant with the Corsair snake on the front of it. Apparently this is the rarer variant, but from all the ones I've seen on eBay, the Corsair one seems to come up less often. There seem to be more of these, but as I say, actually, overall, barely any of these ever come up on eBay, so I was really pleased to get my hands on one actually. And the light up feature really sets it off. If I just show you, let's just turn my lights off. There we go. Plunged into darkness. And if I just give this a very gentle tap, there we are. It lights up. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. If I give it another tap, we get this lovely flashing effect, which is just like it was in the episode. And then it's also got this colour feature as well. It can light up in different colours and it sort of transitions from one to the next. So that's really great as well. I'd strongly recommend you getting your hands on one if you can, but yeah, they are quite rare, and I know that I waited many months to find one for a price that I was happy with. So yeah, if you want one of these, fingers crossed, it can be done, but yeah, not the easiest thing to get hold of, sadly. Now, figure-wise, it has been an incredibly busy month. The busiest month, oh gosh, in about a year, I think. Obviously, we've had the new wave of B&M sets, but before we get onto those, there's one item that I got around about a month ago now, towards the end of August. It arrived too late to include in that month's collection update like Response to All Calls. And it's a figure from years gone by. Another one of those gaps that I've been very lucky to plug in recent months. And another one of those figures that's been very kindly donated to me by one of my followers on YouTube and Twitter. This time it's Frank Jennings, at Daz Jennings on Twitter, who very kindly got in touch with me to say that he'd seen my missing figures image that I've been sharing around recently, and that he had one particular item going spare. It's a figure that I was particularly excited to get my hands on because it's one of the last remaining figures that I need that doesn't contain any reused parts. It's all completely new sculpts. So that was very, very exciting, and I'm pleased to say the figure does definitely live up to that hype in hand. It is the Axon Creature from the Claws of Axos. And what a phenomenal figure this is. I've never seen one in hand before. I've never felt one or held one. And yeah, the moment I got this out of the package and held it and saw it for myself, it just struck me what a weighty figure it is, and what a fantastically textured figure and fantastically coloured as well. I mean, on the shelf, it just completely stands out, this sort of salmony, pinky, orange colour. I mean, just look at it. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm so, so grateful to Frank for arranging to send this to me. I mean, it's just great. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best figures, you know, that I own, definitely. And one of the figures that I was most excited to get hold of, because, you know, these days, a lot of the figures we get from B&M, a lot of the new releases, do reuse parts to some extent or another. So to get a figure that was just completely brand new was tremendously exciting to me. And it was really nice to get hold of this in August as well, because obviously the B&M sets had failed to turn up on time, so it was lovely to have this as a sort of reserve to keep me going until they showed up. And talking of B&M sets, if you've been keeping up with the channel recently, you'll have seen that Miles and I teamed up to do our own little spontaneous B&M hunt when the sets finally started to appear in stores a couple of weeks ago now. And if you've seen that video already, you'll know that I picked up 3 of the 4 latest sets. So I got both of the new 2-packs, the Keys of Marinus set and the Sensorites set. These are the Vord, obviously, from the Keys of Marinus set, and I think they're probably my favourite figures from this new wave. They're just absolutely fantastic. And I surprised myself by how much I liked them. I just think they work really, really nicely. So let's just put those to one side for a moment, and we'll get the other figure that comes with the Vord, Ian Chesterton, or a young Nigel Farage, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic once again. A figure that has definitely grown on me since I saw the initial pictures, and one that definitely looks better in hand than I was expecting it to. And he works really nicely alongside those two. So that's the Keys of Marinus set. Then alongside that we have the Sensorites set, and these two both go so well together, especially if you don't have a William Hartnell figure already. You know, you have to get both of these in order to get your Doctor and your Companion, and 2 awesome sets of monsters as well. I mean, these Sensorites, yeah, I don't think they work quite as well as the Vord, but having said that, they're still excellent figures for what they are. You know, to say this is a reused sculpt, you wouldn't really know, and there's enough new sculpting on them to make it work. You know, these heads are fantastic, the little accessories and these fantastic feet. They are the easiest figures to stand up ever. In fact, both of these are actually, the Vord and the Sensorites, because of how big and wide the feet are. That's a real relief actually, because, you know, with figures usually it's not always the case. They don't always stand up particularly well. So what else can I say? It's just ridiculously exciting to finally have 60s aliens that aren't Daleks or Cybermen or an Ice Warrior. You know, it's just great to have these Vord and Sensorite figures, and of course Ian Chesterton as well, and a William Hartnell thrown in if you don't have one of those already. 2 really fantastic sets, and I would definitely recommend picking them up if you get the chance. And then I also bought myself History of the Daleks set 7 to get my hands on these lovely shiny new Day of the Daleks. I mean, what else can be said? They're just fantastic. This new shiny plastic finish they have really sets them off, and it makes any other, you know, 70s Dalek look completely dull by comparison, frankly. And it just makes me really excited for what we're going to see in future packs, you know, for the 70s. Are they going to redo the Planet of the Daleks Supreme with this finish? That would be absolutely ace. And the Genesis Daleks as well, I suppose, and just the possibilities are really endless. So yeah, again, another set to get your hands on if you get the chance. And I will probably be picking up the Power of the Daleks set as well, History of the Daleks set 5. Well, I say probably. I mean, who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to get it at some point. It's just a matter of time. I might wait until they're reduced. But yeah, expect to see that in a future collection update at some point, probably before the end of the year. And last but not least, we have a couple of miscellaneous items. So first of all, we have these Doctor Who Universe button badges that I spotted in HMV the other week and just bought on a whim, really. Now, you might not recognise this Doctor Who Universe branding because it was only around for a very, very short time. It was between the Capaldi and Whittaker eras, and there was only a handful of products with this branding on. There was a pack of socks that you could buy in Asda, which I've got. There was a cake, I think, as well, which you could also buy in Asda, which I never got. And then these button badges as well. So not a very recent product, but an interesting one nonetheless. I think I probably will just leave them in the packaging because I'm not really one to wear badges, at least not these days. But very nice cartoony designs, you know, of Daleks and Weeping Angels, the TARDIS, Sonic Screwdriver, Cybermen as well. Just really fantastic. And a nice little oddity to add to the collection. And last of all for this month, we have some Battles in Time Exterminator cards from way back in 2006. Yes, if you've seen my unboxing of these from the other day, you'll know what the score is, but basically my mum found a listing online on Oxfam for 11 packets of sealed Exterminator cards, and I leapt at the chance to get them, and the money was going to charity as well, so it was a win-win scenario. This is just a handful of the cards I got. In fact, it's actually just a pile of duplicates because they're the ones I had to hand. So for instance, I got, like 4 copies of Rare Rose, and not one of them was Super Rose. That was so annoying. In fact, if there's anything here that you're missing from your own collection, then do give me a shout because, as I say, all these cards are duplicates, so I've got nothing better to do with them. And of course, that purchase was particularly well timed given the news that RTD is returning to Doctor Who in 2023. A lovely, well-timed bit of RTD era nostalgia, I guess, but a completely accidental one nevertheless. So that does it for another month. Everything I've added to my Doctor Who collection in September 2021. Well, almost. I did mean to say in the figure section that there's one other figure set that I was lucky enough to add to my collection this month. But because there were so many figures in this update as it is, I thought I would hold that one back for next month. I have filmed an unboxing, which you should be seeing fairly soon, and then the set in question will, as I say, be featuring in October's collection update. But otherwise, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, then please leave a like and comment. What are your thoughts on the products featured here? Do let me know in the comments below. Please do also subscribe if you're new for more Doctor Who videos. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching once again, and goodbye for now.